stuff. I wanted to ask about, just to take a sidetrack from the Seinfeld, is your podcast. Like, like I said, I've been watching and listening to the podcast for a long time, and you guys just kind of just exploded like in the last 6 months or so, I would say maybe. And the dynamic that you and Hank have is incredible. And just like, we had Al Dukes was our first guest. You probably don't know Al Dukes is maybe, but he's WFAN sports radio here in New York.
Okay.
He produces the show. Anyway, he came on our show because he was like, you guys have a niche, you're sticking to one thing. You're just focusing on Seinfeld, and that's your podcast. And, you guys did that. Here's our niche. This is it. Are You Garbage? Every episode, you know what you're getting. You're getting your questions, and you guys are diving deep, and you're just staying in your lane. And it's so freaking good. And I'm just curious, when did it start? How did it start? Like, were you guys bouncing this idea around, like, of talking, like, on the side about Are You Garbage? And you said this should be a show. Is this the show? Kind of like Jerry and George? Like,
this is the show. I just watched that one, too. We used to play it, not like as a game, but we would ask each other, like, the first time it really ever happened was we were driving home from a horrible road gig in Altoona, Pennsylvania, back to New York. It was like a 4 or 5 hour drive or whatever. And Foley was talking about how much he loved drinking milk with dinner. And I was just like, dude, that is the trashiest thing in the world. Like, and that was I was just crushing. I remember him dying laughing. I was just crushing him. And then so like he would ask me about something, and then like I would give him an answer, and like so it was never like a game, but we always used to make fun of each other for how they grew up, how each one of us grew up.
Right.
And then he came up with a game. We used to have another podcast when we first moved to New York, and on that podcast we played it because we were all going home for Christmas or Thanksgiving, and he was like, find out what kind of soap you have, just like what, this, that, like all the little things. And then, so that was probably like 5 years ago. And then we always just kept it and played it and whatever, just was always on the back burner. And then we were looking for a new project to, kind of dive into. And we both thought of it. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that could be a podcast or like a video element. And he was like, and then out of nowhere, it was like out of a bad, poorly written movie. Like I was thinking about that all week in my head, just like it could be something. I don't know what it's going to be, but it could be video element or something. And because I started messing around with YouTube, trying to like, gain subscribers and stuff there. And he was like, I've been thinking a lot about Are You Garbage? I was like, oh, so have I. And then we were kind of like, let's just do it. And then the pandemic hit after we dropped our 3rd episode, so that kind of threw a wrench in the mix, and we went to Zoom, and we were lucky enough to lean on our more famous friends to have them come on and do our podcast. So it worked out for the better.
Yeah. I mean, you've had some incredible guests. It's a really, really good show, man. I'm telling you, you guys hit on something. It's so good. I got to say,
thank you.
It's just really good.
We focus on the rhythm. It's all, it's very,
organic.
Yeah, but it's like the Seinfeld rhythm. You know what I mean? It's not the same, but it's like
sure.
We're so hyper aware of rhythm due to being huge fans of that show. You know what I mean? So it's like right. We have our own, but it's like
you guys have a really good dynamic, man. I'm telling you.
Thank you very much.
It's so evident that you've spent a lot of time together.
Too much. Way too much.
You could tell.